assuming y is equals to f of x, find dy by dx. Here in question number 9, equations are given where y is defined implicitly as a function of x. የምን ማለት ነው? y in terms of x only express ማድረግ አንችልም ማለት ነው። In this case, we have a formula to find dy by dx. So whenever we have a function which is expressed implicitly as a function of x, so dy by dx can be calculated by using this formula. ይህንን ፎርሙላ ተጠቅመን ነው dy by dx ን ካልኩሌት የምናደርገው ማለት ነው። So ወደ a part እንሄዳለን። a ላይ ምን አለን? f of x, y አለን, which is x times sine of x minus y minus x plus y አለን. This is equals to 0. Okay, so dy by dx and ለመስራት we need to have the partial derivative of the function with respect to x and the partial derivative of f with respect to y. So partial derivative with respect to x እንሰራለን first. x times sine of x minus y minus x plus y. የዚህን partial derivative with respect to x እንሰራለን. So this becomes x times sine of x minus y minus 1 plus 0. Okay, y in the constant assume ስለሚደረግ so እዚች ጋር ደግሞ product rule እንጠቀማለን ማለት ነው. So applying product rule on this part, we will have sine of x minus y times the partial derivative of x with respect to x plus x times the partial derivative of sine of x minus y minus 1 ይኖረናል ማለት ነው። So ይሄ ምን ይሰጠናል? sine of x minus y plus x times cosine of x minus y minus 1. Okay, this is fx, the partial derivative of the function with respect to x. So again we evaluate the partial derivative of the function with respect to y. So x times sine of x minus y minus x plus y. የዚህን partial derivative with respect to y እንሰራለን. So this becomes x times cosine of x minus y plus 1. Okay, therefore dy by dx becomes the negative of fx by fy, which is, so this is our dy by dx for the a part. Okay, ወደ b part እንመጣለን። አሁንም b part ጋር ስንሄድ implicit differentiation ነው የምንጠቀመው. So our f of x, y becomes arctan of xy ወይንም tan inverse of xy ማለት ነው። arctan of xy ማለት plus arcsine of xy ማለት ደግሞ other notation sin inverse of xy ነው minus pi over 2. This is f of x, y. Okay, f of x, y አችን ይሄ ነው ማለት ነው. This is equals to 0. Okay, so የዚህን dy by dx እንፈልጋለን. So እዚህ ጋር ሌላ ልናውቅ የሚገባው ነገር what is d by dx of tan inverse of x? ይሄ ምንድነው የሚሆነው? 1 over 1 plus x square ነው. Okay, d by dx of sin inverse of x ማለትስ ምንድነው? ይሄ 1 over radical 1 minus x square ነው። ይሄን ነገር ልናውቅ ያስፈልጋል። ምናልባት ይሄንን in detail ማወቅ የምትፈልጉ ልጆች applied one ላይ የሰራሁትን ቪዲዮ ተመልሳችሁ ሄዳችሁ ማየት ትችላላችሁ። So for now let me show you dy by dx. So dy by dx becomes the negative of the partial derivative of f with respect to x over f with respect to y ነው ብለናል። So what is f with respect to x የሚለውን ነገር እናያለን። f with respect to x here, it's the partial derivative of tan inverse of xy plus sine inverse of xy minus pi over 2 ይሆናል ማለት ነው። የዚህን partial derivative እንሰራለን። So the partial derivative of this will be tan inverse of x comma y plus sine inverse of x comma y. Okay, yeah, pi over 2 partial derivative 0 ነው የሚሆነው። So የዚህ partial derivative with respect to x ምንድነው የሚሆነው? y as a constant ስለምናይ this becomes y over 1 plus xy the whole square plus the partial derivative of sine inverse of xy ማለት this becomes y over radical 1 minus x times y the whole square. Okay, this is our fx, the partial derivative of f with respect to x. ይሄ ነው ማለት ነው። Okay, similarly we need to evaluate the partial derivative of f with respect to y. ይሄንን with respect to y እንሰራለን። So the partial derivative of f with respect to y ማለት the partial derivative of tan inverse of xy with respect to y plus sine inverse of xy የዚህን partial derivative with respect to y እንሰራለን ማለት ነው። in this case ይሄ ምን ይሰጠናል? x over 1 plus xy the whole square ይሆናል plus x over in the radical 1 minus xy the whole square ይሰጠናል ማለት ነው። this is fy. Okay, so we have fx and fy, therefore dy by dx becomes okay, ይሄንን further simplify ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ. for now dy by dx for the function here እዚህ ጋር ለተሰጠው function dy by dx አችን ይሄንን ነው የሚሰጠን ማለት ነው። similarly ወደ c part ስንሄድ የምናገኘው ነገር ምንድነው? f of x comma y becomes e the power of x over y plus ln of y over x plus 15 is equals to 0. Okay, this is f of x comma y. So dy by dx and evaluate እናደርጋለን. dy by dx is the negative of fx by fy. Okay, now what's fy and fx? The partial derivative of f with respect to x ምንድነው የሚሆነው? The partial derivative of f with respect to x is this one. Okay, this is equivalent to the partial derivative of e the power of x over y with respect to x plus the partial derivative of ln of, so the derivative of a constant is 0, so ይሄ ምን ይሰጠናል? 1 over y times e the power of x over y minus 1 over x ነው የሚሆነው. This is the partial derivative with respect to x. And similarly fy is the partial derivative of the function with respect to y, e the power of xy plus ln of y over x plus 15. Okay, this is the same as the partial derivative of e the power of x over y plus the partial derivative of ln of y over x. This is the same as minus x over y squared times e the power of x over y plus 1 over y. Okay, so we have this እነዚህ ሪዛልቶች አሉን. This is fx and this is fy, therefore dy by dx becomes, okay, further simplify ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ. for now dy by dx ን እንደዚህ አድርጋችሁ ማስቀመጥ ትችላላችሁ ማለት ነው. So this is how it works for implicit differentiation for function of two variables. Assuming z is equals to f of x comma y, find the partial derivative of z with respect to x and with respect to y. Okay, እዚህ አስረኛ ጥያቄ ውስጥ ኢኩዌሽኖቹን ስናይ we can observe that z is defined implicitly as a function of x and y. So implicit differentiation formula እንጠቀማለን ማለት ነው. So the first thing, the partial derivative of z with respect to x ማለት the negative of the partial derivative of f with respect to x by the partial derivative of f with respect to z now, where here f of x comma y comma z is equals to 0 አድርገን እንጠቀማለን ማለት ነው. Okay, so the partial derivative with respect to x ማለት ምንድነው የሚሆነው? የማንን partial derivative ነው የምንጠቀመው? x square plus y square plus z square minus 4x cube y z over the partial derivative of f with respect to z. So x square plus y square plus z square minus 4x cube yz. Okay, so yes, the partial derivative with respect to x ምንድነው የሚሆነው? 2x minus 12x square yz over the denominator becomes 2z minus 4x cube y ይሆናል ማለት ነው. Okay, so the partial derivative of z with respect to x ምን ይሆናል ማለት ነው? Okay, similarly the partial derivative of z with respect to y ማለት this is the negative of fy by fz ነው የሚሆነው. So this becomes minus 2y plus 4x cube z over 2z minus 4x cube y ይሆናል ማለት ነው. This is the partial derivative of z with respect to y. ወደ b ስንመጣ the partial derivative of z with respect to x is the same as the negative of the partial derivative of the equation x minus z minus tan inverse of yz over the partial derivative with respect to z x minus z minus tan inverse of yz. Okay, so ይሄ ምንድነው የሚሆነው? The negative of 1 minus 0 minus 0 over minus 1 minus tan inverse of the partial derivative of tan inverse of yz ማለት ምንድነው የሚሆነው? y over 1 plus y the whole square. Okay, ይሄንን further simplify ስናደርግ ምንድነው የሚሆነው? 1 plus y square z square over y plus y square z square plus 1. Okay, therefore the partial derivative of z with respect to x ምን ይሆናል ማለት ነው? Okay, this is the partial derivative of z with respect to x. Similarly, the partial derivative of z with respect to y can be obtained by taking the negative of the partial derivative of the equation x minus d minus tan inverse of yd over the partial derivative with respect to d of x minus d minus tan inverse of yd. Okay, so here ምን ይሰጠናል? the negative of d over 1 plus y square d square. okay, ይሄን ይሰጠናል ማለት ነው። so similarly ለሲም እንደዚህ መስራት ትችላላችሁ።